Conor McGregor and Jake Paul went after each other in a vicious feud on social media after the YouTube star beat Nate Diaz in a boxing fight. Paul picked up the win on points in Dallas on Saturday night, and UFC superstar McGregor has been quick to come out and criticize his performance. Paul was looking to get back in the win column after losing for the first time to Tommy Fury back in February, and was taking on McGregor's ex-rival Diaz, who had never boxed before. The problem child has now been linked with a whole host of fights after bouncing back, which includes a future showdown with the Irishman. McGregor has rarely responded to Paul's previous call-outs but has started to take notice of the American as his profile has grown in combat sports. And after his recent fight against Diaz, the former double UFC champion took to social media to finally sit down on his punches and criticize Paul. Paul had certainly been involved in an intense build-up with Diaz, which involved bets, walking out of face-offs and even a pre-fight brawl between the two teams. He even entered a tank as he rolled towards the sold-out Dallas crowd with a view to returning to winning ways. The fight went largely as expected, with both fighters refusing to give anything away, and the Stockton native pushed his rival until the very end. Paul once again scored a knockdown in the contest, landing a right hand to the temple of his rival, which many deemed a push and even down to balance. Diaz and Paul spoke respectfully regarding each other's performances at the final bell, with Diaz initially complimentary of his rival's boxing ability. The pair even agreed after the result was announced to clash for a second time in MMA, with Diaz verbally accepting Paul's $10 million offer to compete in PFL. Paul will be hoping a win could see him set up his dream showdown with McGregor, who he has pursued for several years and has already fought in the boxing ring. The Irish star fought Floyd Mayweather and lost in 2017. But will of course fancy his chances against Paul despite having just competed once professionally in the squared circle. McGregor had clearly been watching Diaz's showdown with Paul and first decided to criticize his former rival and insist the pair would fight in a UFC trilogy bout. He made it clear that he was unimpressed with the quality of the fight, and was confident that he himself would beat Diaz despite his recent inactivity. Then, in remarkable fashion, after so many times of Paul trying to stir a feud with McGregor, he finally decided to land his own verbal blows by tweeting the YouTuber on Twitter. The American had insisted after his win that he was only interested in boxing stars and a potential clash with Canelo Alvarez. McGregor clearly didn't take well to this and first wrote, before deleting, "That was abysmal last night. Paul is absolute garbage, he is. Moving backwards like I was watching a fight in rewind. Holy garbage. Embarrassing stuff all round in my opinion." Paul then responded, writing, "Buddy, you need to get into rehab and then USADA. Until then, shut the F up. Floyd Mayweather toyed with you. Dustin Poirier chinned you. Khabib Nurmagomedov and Nate Diaz choked you out. And I would put you in the coffin for good." McGregor then added, "Shut up, you little baldy W." Before Paul continued with a screenshot of Diaz choking out McGregor. Before the UFC star decided to counter that, "Jake the Snake Roberts are boxing for RS. Jake Paul is a baldy W." Paul then concluded the feud, writing, "Good boy, deleting your tweets, Connie. Hit me once you get out of rehab or jail." It was another surprising turn of events which has now largely been deleted. But a lucrative showdown certainly now has a storyline.